But for now, we have a dead body in there that we're trying to bring out.
And we also got the news of the dead body. We're told actually there were two, but it's for good reason that we've come here to ascertain for ourselves. What can you tell us about whether we have one or two of the bodies?
I'm not aware of the number of people there. For now, all I know is there's someone trapped in there who is dead. That is all I know for now, but I can't confirm the actual number of dead.
Lieutenant Kenanfu, have you been able to help people wade through the waters out of their homes?
Yes, we've been able to do as much. When we got here around 0400, we got some people who were trapped in there, so we had to rescue them with our boats. We had about 20 of them in total, rescuing about 20 of them to safe havens.
How many men do you have scattered or deployed in the vicinity?
For this vicinity, we have about 36 of us here. And we also sent some people to Ashama general area. But within this jurisdiction, we have about 36 of our guys here.
Well, good work you're doing. Let's go speak to the Member of Parliament for the area and then we'll come back to you. But before we get there, you can see that the Odawna area is a hub for mechanics, repair, rehabilitation of used cars, new cars, imported cars, and it's where you find many people who try to ply their trade. They hustle through the times each day of life and try to make it as much as they can. And one person who has inherited this is the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Zaneto Rollins, would want to speak to her. Indeed, we got news from a number of residents in the area that she'd been around the constituency for a number of hours now. Now, good morning to you, Dr. Zaneto Rollins.
Good morning.
And when you first came here, what was the current situation or the situation at the time?
The water level was really high, and actually what happened was the water level rose before the rains even got to this area, which means that we have a real problem we're dealing with. You know, we know that around June this is what tends to happen, but this is the worst we've seen in many years. And I think one of the main problems is that bottleneck around the Agbeboloshi market area. So when the water fills up the Odo, instead of moving towards the sea, it forms like a dam and it comes back. And what you see here is just devastating, We've had about, I think, 2 deaths have been reported so far. There's a drain here that was being done. This is Odawna garages we're in right now. The drain has not been completed. It's narrower than it should be for the volume of water. And we find ourselves here again. And there are lots of angry residents. As you go around, people are angry. And, you know, I heard a couple of people saying, don't even think of bringing us mosquito nets and blankets, because that's not the solution. And they are right. If every year this is what is happening, the frustration that people are going through, the destruction of not just lives, but people's livelihoods as well. We can't have a perennial destruction of people's livelihoods and lives. It's just not right.
Myself, I had to wade through the water, my phones, my trousers halfway before I could get here because, yes, because before you come here, here is in the middle, and before you come here, you have to wade through water.
Right.
And the military had to use their boats, even they are wet.
Yes.
But for the resident constantly, even prior to now, who had been making complaints, what had you been telling the authorities as a Member of Parliament representing them?
Actually, last year we had a town hall meeting where we invited the Minister for Works and Housing, because that's the ministry that's responsible for the huge drain, the Odo, and in Asylum Down as well. And he did give us his word that the work would be started in time to relieve the level of flooding that we're having here. And unfortunately, that's not happened yet. But I would really like to extend my gratitude to the 48 engineers for the amazing job that they've done here, just rescuing the people who were stranded in their homes, and for the police who have also come to the rescue. They've really held the fort since the flooding started.
We've always had estimates, and indeed, on the private side, I've been involved in various companies that had been working closely with the Ministry of Works and Housing to find some solution to the downstream sector of the Odo, to make sure the residents and the drainage itself is expanded to be able to contain water. How deeply have you known whatever information or discussion so far to make sure we see an end to this?
Well, I'm not involved in the technical aspect of things, but definitely what we see from our experience is that the whole situation needs to be re-engineered. You know, there are certain aspects of our lives as Ghanaians that we need to look at, which includes the poor management of waste when it comes to dumping waste in the waterways, people also building structures in waterways. All of these are contributing to some of these problems we're seeing here. and we need action to be taken, because it's not enough for us to keep coming around every year and saying sorry to people. It's not acceptable. We really need really drastic action. We'd like to call on the government to really step in and take the necessary action to prevent this, because this is the first heavy downpour, and it was only for 30 minutes. The rain started in the mountains, and this is what we're seeing. So imagine what happens when it actually rains a lot more here. We really have to have some kind of permanent solution to this.
I see you holding a megaphone. What was it for?
Unfortunately, when you have a situation like this, people tend to forget the protocols with regards to the distancing with the COVID-19. Of course, people had to rush out of their homes. They don't have masks. So it's just to remind people that in spite of the emergency right now, there is also the underlying health crisis, which is the pandemic, so that people remember to just give that distancing, because in these situations, you don't actually think about all these things. You just have your mind on maybe the immediate situation. So it's just to remind people to maintain the spacing.
I've seen some NADMO representatives. Are they just personnel, or you have their heads also available here?
No. They're the NADMO within the municipality, actually. So they're part of the municipal. Right.
We'll leave you try and wade through the water and get some insight into what the situation is. But how were you using the megaphones? If you can just display it for us, we'll be happy.
You just switch it on and then you speak into it. And if people
what were the messages you were bellowing through?
Well, mostly that people should maintain social distancing. Those who don't need to be in the vicinity should move, and those who don't wear masks, who aren't wearing masks but are close, should just open up. So that we at least don't have a situation where we have a huge surge in the number of cases as a result of this disaster. So we have it's quite tragic, but we can't have you going there at the moment, because there's a dead body.
I won't get near.
Okay.
I'll just get close enough to be safe.
Okay.
I've already waded through water and gutters and falling through. My phones are off.
Thank you.
But we'll get back to you. We'll try to go straight to the personnel and speak to them individually to get their experiences, and not to go far, but this is the current situation. I've been told by way of caution. Indeed, you can see me. I had to remove my shoes. I came back well dressed, like somebody who needed to wade through flood waters. In the studio, I was rightly dressed with a shoe, everything. But when the situation arises, this is what you get. 25 years of great experience, 25 years of impactful journalism. That's what Joy News gives you. And we're live here at Odawna. And it's where you're getting a situation where we have the personnel of the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces, who had been here since 4 o'clock. They call it 400 hours GMT. I decided to call it 4 o'clock in the morning. That's more Ghanaian, I believe. But at the end of the day, there is a suspected case of a dead body in there. One or two, the military and the personnel of the National Disaster Management Organization, a couple of the personnel of the police, are still not sure how many people in there, and the camera lenses will take you straight. The number of the residences in the area, not necessarily of this household, who are helping to make sure they keep the situation under wraps. It's a situation they have been inundated with, have associated themselves with over the last couple of hours. They have been doing that just because they had to salvage whatever is left. Indeed, when you go to some of these homes that we'll show you later right here on the show, there's nothing to salvage in reality. So I've been cautioned not to go near. I believe this is my barrier. I'll try as much as possible, and then also try to get some of the insight. And this is the situation. Officials of NADMO in there, and then we'll try as much as possible to get some of the situations as they have. Well, we'll try and speak to officials of the area to get to know the efforts that are being made. But let me just get you to some of the insight that we can have, and I will speak to the assembly representative of the area, not more officials in there. But let me ask your name in the first place. This is an emergency, and this is, I believe you work with the National Disaster Management Organization.
Yes, my name is Daniel Odawna, the Municipal Director for NADMO Kolokoti Municipal Assembly. And this has been one of the awful emergencies we've encountered in the municipal so far. About 1 a.m. we started having a situational report on the ground as to how the flood was actually ravaging lives and properties over here. Now, what happened was the place got flooded before it started raining in our house, and it means that it rained from a breeze coming down. And as we know, whenever it rains like that over there, the water runs down here and it gets our place flooded. So a little downpour in our area gets our place flooded badly. And that's what has actually happened. And it is so sad seeing how lives and properties have been affected badly. Unfortunately, we've had some life claimed by this flood as a result of electrocution, which of course, since about 1:30, we started calling electricity to put off the light. It's gone.
You got electrocuted. Yes. But indeed, as an assembly member, we're always cautioned by the National Disaster Management Organization, indeed the assembly members, the assembly itself, the members of parliament, that we should always be proactive. If you look at the way the wires keep dangling, for example, on the poles itself, before you get to look at the situation and the way the wires have been used around the buildings here, it presupposes that definitely any disaster could give you some tragedy.
Yes, it has happened before. That is the reason why we started calling ECG to put off the light. You know, when you look, you see a transformer here. It was almost full. So when there's a big transformer here and the current in that transformer is over 11,000 watts. So definitely we'll have problem here. And looking at this area is an old area. So definitely this is the way you're going to see it, unless ECD want to have a change in repairing some of these things for us.
And I'll try and see whether my lenses could get you the transformer. And that is the height of the transformer. Yes. Okay? And water had exceeded this transformer. You could definitely not see your way pass through, and that is the height. And if you're watching us live on Joy 99.7 FM, as well as watching us, if you're listening to us live on Joy 99.7 FM and also watching us on Joy News, for those who are listening on radio, the height of the transformer will be about 12 to about 15 feet, thereabouts, and the water had exceeded that height. It shows you the height and the level of the water. Now, I would want to speak to a number of the residents, but if you take a look at the extent of damage, I see a couple of the buildings that are just one-floor story buildings. They're very old, definitely just post-independence, 70s buildings. There's one or two that may have been built within the last couple of years, but definitely this is an old residential area. And this is a mix hub of residents, mechanical shops, metal workshops, and then many other areas where residents tend to trade. Now, I would want to speak to some of these rescuers. These early rescuers helped in the early hours of the morning, I can say from 1 to 2 a.m. to help many of these stranded residents who had water entering their houses at a level of about 10 feet, some 12 feet, based on the max I can see. Which of the languages do you want to speak?
Daniel.
Daniel, me pacho rebeng na oba ha obeboa manfo woman nsuo nankasa no eyiri wo mo.
If you wanna me o.
If you bang
police quarters.
Baby yi kojo the late kojo no one. Kojo na we free mo no not saying.
Oh, onye obi a o adwen. There we nsuo yira on the nyane ye. Now mom be you on cars Wow, I didn't know, now they are 2 years. And we soon a toy, no. Now saying, I had 12:30 to 1 and yet is a insurance. And no Dimicano Kunyane boy, one refeno, coffee. So uncle in the car on and soon near the insurance bar. And our boy in the tunica. The boy in the tunica or buy any side of a boy, then near that. To your board, then, and I in Yanni, and Mani Biani. To a Yanni, police in the back way if you are finish Leonardo. Or Kojuma, and I'm the way and soon to Nitino, or the Kinema will be boy, you are a junior offendable. And Apiamba and no be able, Leonardo, you can't send it down where you munio. No see, I may eat the honey in a good slow, as you see an a cat TV in Kwan. And na piano ka say wo de ni pa wu a wo si TV na oja ibe no ho eti owura edan na osan ibe no no
ye kojo no
owura osan ibe no ho owura dan ni mu no ni ati se bibi aji gum ti ati se bibi aji gum na ma na sate so mtetem say me mamlo ene de fast but ni pa oni omo dem ho no oka ho a miensa. No so kuta extension board. Now, extension board is not one shada and cresa. A fanimu Emma
extension board and not connected not to power socket to be
connected to power. Or by has no pim boy be I fend joy on so feel where be. And a far joy in this moon. To join a pim wall. And not pim guy be out also can't hold now come women's now join the top of him. To join the top of him, not time I can't say boy in that time joy now. Or time you now and for moon be amfa and I'm far mubu in and I'm fun to create.
Could you never ban no mumna electricity no kuno?
Sir, time we know a blasters are now me so could be in an hour share on Shembabuans and I so a firm one more. Enti ayasa no otof ono tofom no nanim se no de koy James nanim se no de koy no ena ma esuri mi ekoni nimu eno na ma ne
because that time no na edem na nkasa nso na yiri ho
odem ho no mo nsu odem ho pa se matro edem nyina no nsu na yiri afo no ase no enti no tom no opre ko no mo kana ho no so aso obi ara for life ntino ama obi antumi amana chibi enti emra ka say emra me boa no ye bae no ye hwede wi ana light ni sisu na enya free police ni ba ko say on free penifo no mo ye de munum light no nyen konko hwe say apia no ida say watumi apie ana say oda ho odemo enya free police ni ye free no ka che me say wa free electricity for no but electricity for no e delay time Omandum light in
natural say no one show no munyina na electrocution intina electricity no wom na electricity no wom
and I no so and the police no bra ye answer na electricity for edum light to mudum light na me fe na nga chen say omadum light no say yenko edem on yenko hwe say ida say boy no pie omubu ntokua no afa ho apie kobi ana say o edem ho no ana wonya ba bi agina ye call first one ye ntumi ambie dan no na me friend am ka chen say ye call ye ntumi ambie dan no na o san so frame bi me ka chen say ye momodin a say kwan kora be fa so a ye nsa be kan say ye be hu say enipa no te ase ana say o wu no
sembre na ye dum light no
that time no
na mutimi fa nsuo no
ye dum light no amomodum light ntini tumi fa nsuo no enti ye call no ye hwa ni ye hu no ye hu ma bi oda o edem o eti ahwe na boy ba ku we ne nan eka no ono say boga oni o to ka so oni na me kora na me fi se bia oboa nti na me kuta wo ma bi na am disi si wo no ma na ko si ni so ti si ni so no ye sanka ye de ni pie na ka say ye frɛ boss na ka tie say ye hu apia no ono say ye be ne den ya si ano yentumi the way nsuo na afro no yentumi nya ba bia amfa ne nto no se saade a yemfa ne hye dan mu ne yentum na se nsuo no twe a ono obeba fie oba fe ne mpanifo amama efa emu enti ampani nsuo no twe no wan later am kra na ɔde amika a ɔbaa nso ɔfrɛfrɛ mpanimfoɔ a ɔmba ma bɛfa
mokɔhu no na wɔfiri
yɛkɔhu no deɛ na ɔnte ateasefoɔ ase so biom ama apea ɔnkan ho
apea ɛyɛ kodwo ntwi na wɔ mo frɛ
kodwo ntwi na yɛfrɛ no by ne fie adwuma mu din ɛyɛ
ɛde adwuma na ɔyɛ
pakyɛ ɔyɛ mechanic.
And indeed, you could you've heard the word mechanic, and where we are is a hub of both residential as well as mechanics who tend to ply their trade here. And we've had a number of residents that we've spoken to. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM as well as on Joy News TV. And please, we're mainstream free to where you can just go check us out and get all these pictures live. And for those who have only the benefit of listening to radio, I can see dotted lines or marks of debt that has been left by the raging floods or waters up to a feet of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just my observational estimation. And I want to speak to Samuel Ni Ejay is a member of this assembly, the Kole Klote Assembly. He indeed heads the assembly as chief executive. I was speaking to the member of parliament for the area, Kole Klote, Dr. Zanato Rollins as well, but it means that something has to be done. Well, I won't say quickly, but something that concretely has to be in the plans, won't you say?
Yes, that's right. But as you can see, something is being done.
Which is what?
The drains are being constructed. That's the storm drains to allow the water to flow a bit more freely into the main or dot drain.
Clearly late in the day, when if you look at these type of concrete works, it should be undertaken, and you and I know by experience, as quickly as possible, because we know when the rains come.
Yes, it started early, and I think the contractor is currently not at site though, but it started on time. If we look back a few years back, we didn't have such a thing here, so I think it's an improvement on the situation. Yeah.
From here, where are you going? What are you going to do?
We are going to Osu Doku because it's been a big problem there too. You know, leading to the old Riga cinema area. That place also got flooded. So we are living here to make sure things are okay. In fact, I came from that area to this place because I think this place seemed to be more serious than that place. So that's why we are here. Now we are moving on back to there to make sure everybody is okay. And the awareness creation also is important in the sense that when these things happen, switches and putting on lights on off are not things that are to be done.
And this you're talking about a caution that ideally residents should be knowing. Do you give them some of these public education before the onset of the rains?
Yes, we do. In fact, we have the NADMO team and the disaster management team of the municipality, and these are the sort of things that go around educating people about. Yes.
But look, now the vast areas, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Many other cars just beyond 21 that my eye could see beyond that have been inundated by the floods. We have to hand over to studio, but again, it's a live coverage of the flooding situation. Even before I had to get here, I have to wade through water. It meant I had to remove my shoes and be barefoot to also be in a position to wade through the water. It's part of what we do, 25 years of great experience of impactful journalism right here on Joy News, Joy 99.7 FM, the multimedia family. But we'll speak to the Member of Parliament for Kole Klote, Dr. Zanato Rollins, who also has been here for hours. It's now time check, almost a minute to 8:20, and she told me she'd been here before 4 a.m. Indeed, early on we spoke to Lieutenant Colonel Infum, who headed personnel of the 48th Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces. They had come in way earlier to make sure they use their boats to go through the water and do the rescue. He said they had rescued over 80 to 90 residents of the area. But again, it's the caution to make sure when the rains are coming, you're in a position to know what you're supposed to do. Because the deceased, the late Kojo, whose friends that we spoke to this morning said he may have suspectedly died of electrocution. And ultimately, by the time they got to officials, or the station just closed around this area that manages the distribution of electricity, they ultimately had that electrocution.
The sheer force of the flood water and the rains that we experienced yesterday, and then some this early this morning. So this is the Chimota drain, and we have with us the man who owns the vehicle that is stuck in here in this drainage system. I want to find out from him exactly what happened. Sir, you're welcome to join me.
Thank you very much.
This is your car and it's stuck in here in this drainage system. Yeah. Tell us what happened.
Thank you very much. I'm David Abuado, the PR of Concerned Drivers Association of Ghana. Okay. But what I heard this dawn around 1:30 was my phone was ringing, and when I picked the call, it was my driver